everyone around you is like stressing about homeschool, and you're like, my kid is 3 or younger, or maybe has a developmental delay and is like they're 3 or younger, and you're like, for me, homeschool doesn't even cut it. But you don't want this time to go to waste. You're willing to do whatever it takes for your kid, but you don't have the training. You've come to the right place. My name is Julie Meyer, and I happen to know that you as a parent have powers far greater than any of us therapists or educators can ever have. Keep watching. Good morning again. I am Julie Meyerowitz, and I am here to share something that I think I've been doing with the older kids since I started as a speech therapist 12 years ago. I want to say thank you to Mr. H in the theater department at Douglas Anderson School of the Arts, who taught this to me way back in high school. I haven't been in touch with him in over 20 years, so I don't know if he wants his name shared, but you could look him up, and if you went to DA, you could post your guess who this is. If you were in the theater department, you'll know once you see this. The thing is, this is going to look a little complex for those of us who have been watching the videos for little kids. This is going to lead us to something, though, that's very important for little kids. And this is the basic structure of how we usually talk to each other. So a lot of parents say, I just want my child to have words and then we'll be communicating. It's a start, but without this structure, they're never strung together in a way that makes any sense. This is also something that I promised a friend of mine that I would make, because this could lead to hours and hours of entertainment and interest while we're home. So this is basic story structure, and a lot of us might have seen this in our English classes in middle school or high school or college and quickly forgotten it because it's like, what on earth does that have to do with anything? I'm going to show you it has a lot to do with everything. So for basically anything that is a story follows this structure. Pretty much at least 90% or 99% of the movies we watch follow this structure. A lot of commercials follow this structure. A lot of videos, YouTube videos, even the cooking videos or the sports things that we watch. Whenever we relate something that happened to us, it follows this structure. You might not believe me, but I'm going to show you what it is, and you'll try it out yourself. I think you'll start to see it. Okie dokie. So, this is what I was taught to call the major dramatic curve. A lot of us might have learned this as story arc, narrative arc, something like that. So, this is the structure of pretty much any story, whether it's something that we're relating from an experience that we had with a friend or a colleague at work, or any of these other things that we talked about, YouTube videos, sporting events, cooking shows, movies, Golden Girls, whatever. Okay, so we start with the given circumstances. That also includes our setting, anything that's happening in the life of the main character before the story starts, but that the information that we either have or need to have in order to understand what's going on in the story. So in I'm forgetting, in Captain America, the setting is World War, and he was small and beaten up as a young man, but he's very patriotic, and he joins up anyway, and we need that background to see a lot of what his motivation is through all those series. So this is everything that happens before our story starts that is important, but is still important background information for this story. So it's setting, character relationships, characteristics within themselves, like Captain America used to be small, things like that. This would be the very beginning when we enter into the world of the character. This is the introductory information. This is where we see what the character's world is like normally, like what's normal for that character, or what's happening before the story really gets going. And then something enters this normal for them world of the character, and that is called the inciting incident. On Friends once, Ross called it the exciting incident. It's probably the same thing. It incites the character to action, or it excites the world of the character so that they'll do stuff in a way that we want to follow it. It's something that changes the world of the character and gives them a problem that they need to solve. Now, a lot of people don't believe me until they start trying, taking the structure and picking out the things that they're familiar with themselves. There is no story without a problem. If there's no problem, there's no story. So then, this also tells us who the main character is. Or, I'm sure a lot of us very academic types are thinking, that's the protagonist. Yes, it is the protagonist, or the main character, or the person that we're following. So when this inciting incident happens, a question enters our minds and the minds of the character. Will main character, protagonist, accomplish something? And it's a yes or no question. Will Captain America save the day? Will Ross appease Phoebe even though he has no idea why she's angry at him? Whatever the question is. Then we have what's called the rising action. So this is the major dramatic question here. And every story has this. Will the three little pigs build a safe home? Will the Steelers beat the Eagles? I'm not following. It's spring. I don't even know if they're playing. So, with sports, or will Ro make the perfect Spider-Man cake? You might get these references, you might not. So then there are attempts. This is rising action. This is as the character is doing what they can to answer this question, to get to yes. They're always trying to win. They're always trying to accomplish. Captain America is trying to save the day. Ro is trying to make her Spider-Man cake. Ross is trying to appease Phoebe. The Steelers are trying to beat the Eagles. Here is where the main character is doing everything they can to get to yes. Okay? So it might be I don't remember Captain America so well. I'm going to make stuff up. Captain America goes undercover, and I don't think he pretends to be a Nazi. Was it even the Nazis? I don't even remember which war it was. And tries to trick the bad guys. He has a fight with a really scary super bad guy. I don't know. The things that each of these Ro breaks the eggs and mixes them together. She designs her Spider-Man cake. She draws on the black lines and uses marshmallows for eyes. Okay, so these are the things that they do in order to accomplish their task, to get to yes. Now, each of these attempts has this structure. It has the background. It has the thing that they're trying to do now. And sometimes it's a yes. Sometimes they get closer to their goal. Sometimes it's a no. Sometimes they lose that battle, get further from their goal. Lose a scrimmage. I think a scrimmage is a thing in sports. I'm not even sure what sport. Okay. Then this all leads us with our minor wins and minor losses as we go up the rising action to a moment where it's called a crisis, where when we get through this moment, it's either going to be a yes or a no. We're either going to win or lose, and this is our last-ditch effort. The wolf is at the door of the three little pigs in the brick house, and this time he'll either beat them or they'll beat him. And it's all riding on this moment. And then the conclusion of that moment of the crisis is the climax. That in the Three Little Pigs, he goes down the chimney. Is he going to eat them? Are they going to get him first? The climax of the Three Little Pigs is he falls into their boiling pot of water, or sometimes they chase him away, but they win. They send him away or boil him, and then they're totally rid of him, and they've won. Sometimes it's a no. Sometimes the climax is a no. Sometimes our protagonist doesn't win. Sometimes, if you're a Steelers fan, the Eagles win. I guess they play each other even though they're both in Pennsylvania. I'm not sure. So, and then after that, it's sort of returning to, it's a phrase that a lot of us have been thinking about recently, returning to the new normal, whatever that looks like. The Three Little Pigs clean up their house and sit down to tea. Phoebe realizes that she's been tormenting Ross over a dream that she had that wasn't even real. And I think maybe even apologizes. And they go back to being friends. The fans celebrate and go home if they're well behaved, but we're not going to talk about Pennsylvania sports teams. So this is called The Falling Action, and literally, excuse my French, I haven't had French since preschool, but I think it's pronounced denouement, but I think anyways Americans call it denouement, which just sounds really bad. So you could call it Falling Action. So you could apply this to, it's fun. I'm going to put a link below to the worksheet that I've been using for over a decade with older students, and you could print it out, and next time you sit down to Netflix and watch a television show or a movie or even many commercials, you could go ahead and see if you could fill in these points, who your protagonist is. I didn't write that in there, but the protagonist, antagonist, is necessary to have some sort of tension in here, some sort of conflict that you're trying to overcome. In a cooking show, you don't usually have an antagonist unless your mixer is really on the fritz. But for most stories, and I'll give an example of one in a moment, but for almost all stories in the Western tradition, this is called linear narrative. You will see some things from time to time if you're, most of us are used to this at this point, because even outside of the West, a lot of us have been exposed, a lot of folks have been exposed to Hollywood, and which is in the Western tradition, this linear narrative. But some traditional African and Asian and possibly even some Native American narratives are circular narrative. It's a whole other thing. But this also helps us, this and one other structure that we'll get to eventually, I want to work through narrative a little bit, are very much related to what Westerners will call the point. What is the point? Get to the point. The point is this question when you're telling a story. There are other ways that we communicate, but this is the most common socially how we communicate. Story that a lot of us can relate to right now. Given circumstances, the circumstances that we're all living in right now. Our world has changed. Everything's upside down. There's this virus that most of us weren't thinking about 3 weeks ago that has affected all of us all over the world and how our lives are. Meyerowitz family realizes we don't have that much toilet paper left. We go to our local grocery store. So this is us realizing that we don't have toilet paper. We go to our local grocery store. I'll be the protagonist here. Will Julie Meyerowitz find toilet paper? And then we start attempting different things. This is our realization that we don't have. This is the question, will I find toilet paper? This is local grocery store, no toilet paper. This is we go to Costco. We get there half an hour early. We decide to wait. This happened a couple weeks ago. Get there half an hour early, and I'm the first one standing at the big gates of Costco. I look at the sign, and it says, "This is what we're out of." It was out of eggs and toilet paper, and fortunately not rice at that time. Things that we had gone to buy. So I call my husband, and I'm like, "Okay, they're out of toilet paper. What are we going to do?" And then this is while we're in Costco, or while we're waiting for it to open, I go on Amazon and I look up toilet paper, largely out, but found 2 different places that were providing, and climax, crisis. This is not so exciting, but it's just very relatable for a lot of people right now. And the climaxes are sort of in between. We have received our pre-cut toilet paper, and we are waiting on our rolls of toilet paper. And then the following action is, I guess I'm here making videos, trying to help us all survive psychologically in our various versions of quarantine. But that's just something very common. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to post in the comment section down below, I'm going to post a link to a printout of this. It might be a little difficult for you to see right now. You could print it out, or if you could at least pull it up on your computer, you could write it down for yourself. Lots of ways you can use this. Right now we've got some holidays coming up. If you want to go ahead and, with the kids, make some Passover or Easter videos about different stories from our holidays that are coming up. If you have a different holiday coming up and that has a story with it, you can make videos for your friends following this outline. You could print it out, and it could give you a little game to play in your brain while you're watching your Netflix videos. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to post the links to a couple of videos that I often have used with my students that have very clear storylines. That it's very easy to apply this. Some storylines I've seen are not as clear. It's a little more difficult. And these are some fun videos, and that can be a game that you play with your family. You will also have the name of the Facebook group. I haven't figured out how to link the Facebook group, but I think that's the only thing with this name. And we could start discussing what answers you find for the videos that I share, or videos that you're watching on your own. If I see that this becomes a major discussion in the group, we might start another thread. But for now, this is something fun to play with. So, enjoy! Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please click like and share with anybody you think can benefit from it. For more videos like this, please subscribe. To request a video on a topic that we haven't covered yet, go ahead and leave a comment down below, and I'll see that. And if I get enough interest, I'll make a new video. Also, you don't have to do this alone. You could join the discussion in our private Facebook group, and the link is in the comment box down below. Or if you're interested in working with me personally, send me a PM on Facebook and we'll make a time to talk. In the meantime, use your powers and take care.